So, what you want to talk about?
I want to talk about how you a big boss author now.
I know, look at me fancy. I'm drinking out of my Starbucks cup. I got Starbucks money. I'm just kidding. My uncle gave me this cup. Actually, I took it from his house, but I still have Starbucks money though. Okay. All right.
So I'm Nate, the FitFutureMD.
I'm Meredith Dillon, the author of London and the Googly Goo. And this is one of our designs from Ensorsale.com. We made this. Ensorsale. We made this. This is the front cover of my book, London and the Googly Goo, written by Meredith Dillon. Illustrations by Julian Grant. Awkward is his brand. My whole goal in life was from when I was a very, very, very small child. Actually, the book too, hold on. From when I was a really small child was to be an author. And a part of me is kind of sad, but I know that with changing my mindset and stuff, I've already achieved that goal. I'm an author. Like, I'm a published author. So it's like, wow, okay, well, I did that. So what's next? And what's next is many more books to come, hopefully. Not hopefully, definitely. But, yeah. This is my book, guys. You can get it on Amazon.
Let's say if you haven't gotten a chance to get your copy of London and the Googly Goo, it is for sale on Amazon.com.
Mm-hmm.
You know, give it a, check it out. It's definitely a great book. If you would like to purchase shirts, posters, all that kind of stuff, you can get that on Ensorsale.com.
Mm-hmm.
And today we're going to talk about the differences in how to be creative and writing.
Mm-hmm. So
traditional ways of writing doesn't work for you, right, babe?
No. And I think trying to attempt to do that, the traditional ways where you sit down, have an outline, you make a plan. I mean, back when I was a kid, we did was it like a web? And it was like a spider web or whatever. You have a web and then you have like all these little connecting things around.
So me personally, when I go to write,
that doesn't work for me.
I have to have an outline. And then I do what's called a trial and error.
There's this gnat flying around. Sorry.
The bug would find Meredith.
It would. Anyways.
Is it still there? No, we're good.
I don't see it now. But if you see me go like this, it's because I killed that thing.
Anyway, so for me, I have to have an outline, and then I have to try to write whatever that topic is, and then I have to go back and write it a different way, and write it a different way, and write it a different way until I can come up with something that is coherent to the entire story. Mm-hmm. Whereas Meredith is not like that.
No. I actually wrote London and the Googly Goo on a weekend. It was a Sunday. Nate was on call and he left to go check his job, and I pulled out my paper, my pencil. I just had a little notebook, like a small little spiral notebook, and I just started writing. I did have an original plan that I did talk to my sister about. They had no idea I was writing a book about them, and I was like, I had no idea what reading level London was on, because I really wanted to write it for her. So Lindsay got a book out and she started getting London to read, and I was like, okay, my idea is way too juvenile. Like, she is well past this reading level. I was like, okay, so new plan.
So you adapted.
I did. And like the book just like came, like it was weird because it just came to me, and I wanted to do like a rhyming book, kind of like Shelves Silverstein, Where the Sidewalk Ends. I know this is controversial, but like Dr. Seuss, where it was like rhyming. I knew I wanted that because it just flows better. It's pretty cool.
So you had certain criteria that you were trying to meet.
Yeah, exactly.
But you didn't have a clear outline of
what the story is even going to be about.
Right.
So I literally sat on this couch with my notebook here by myself and just started writing. And then Nate came home and I was like, it was like 30 minutes. It took me 30 minutes to write it. I said, Nate, I need you to read this book. I need you to read this. I need you to listen to it. I need you to read it. I need you to tell me like your unbiased opinion. I know you love me, but tell me how bad this book is. He was like, babe, this book is really good. And like, I don't think you had any suggestions. I mean, if you did have a suggestion, it was like, maybe you should reword this or.
Well, see, when I saw it in the raw form, I could barely even, keep up with the story. I didn't have the vision of what the story was going to be when you first gave it to me, because it was just on a notepad. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? There was no pictures to go with it, so
nope.
I could not see, what the people were doing in each page of the book, whereas your illustrator,
oh my gosh,
is just brilliant and was able to bring this to life. Whereas me personally, I couldn't see it, but him being the lifestyle,
creative. He was the creative, and there's a word for it. Hold on, let me find it real quick. Photorealism.
Yeah, he's into photorealism, where he can make something come to life on paper like this, or on a jacket, or all kinds of stuff that he's able to do, which is just amazing. I mean, just an incredible, talented person. Shout out to Awkward.
Faux show. I mean, he really made my book a reality. He made my words a reality.
Yeah, whereas I couldn't picture it at all. I had no vision of what this could be, But in Meredith's head, it came out exactly the way she saw it.
I mean, exactly. Like, there was no changes that like, he sent this and he sent me the pictures and I literally was like, this is it. Like, this is it. I'm getting the chills just thinking about it, because it literally, like, it just fascinated me. Like,
so what was one of your biggest excuses for not creating a book before?
Okay, so
it was that you couldn't draw, right?
I definitely always, I knew my first book was going to be a children's book. Mm-hmm. I knew that. I wanted, and it's been like that for forever. I wanted to do more of like a novel, but because now I have a niece, I wanted to write it for her so she could read it. And it'd be challenging, and for her to enjoy it and actually see, someone that looks like her on the front cover. I wanted her to feel like she was coming to life in a book. And I wanted her to, it focuses on her new atmosphere and accepting of, others, and that don't look like her, like, I don't know how to describe it. I feel like it's my book, but it's like,
that don't come from your circle.
Yeah, accepting of other people and inviting them to eat at your table. So what was the question? I got like sidetracked.
What was your number one reason why in your head why you couldn't do this?
So number one, typically in the past, when you wrote a book, you have to find a publisher. That publisher would have to love your writing. At least from movies, and could be something totally different and may not be the process, like they tear it up, they tear your manuscript up, they want to change everything that you've written, because their name is on it too, because they're the publisher. So in my mind, like, I did not want to go through that rejection. I didn't want someone to tear the work that I made and I envisioned. I didn't want them to tear it up. Mm-hmm. So that scared me. Second of all, if I take the publisher out of it, I didn't know the programs on how to make the book. I didn't know how to, this was a lot of work. Like, I had to learn, InDesign.
So what were your assumptions of publishing on Amazon that you
I did
found
publish
out,
on Amazon, yes.
that you found out were not true?
What do you mean?
So Meredith and I both thought that when you sent away for art, it would just come back and you could just upload the art onto Amazon and it would just...
They would just do it.
It would just do it.
No.
But that's not how it works.
No. Okay, so I had to take the beautiful images my artist provided me, reformat it. It wasn't formatted correctly, which is fine, but I had to learn that. I had to learn as the author, I'm responsible for that. Like I had to learn how to reformat the pictures. I had to add the words to the pictures. And then I had to get it in the exact form that Amazon wanted it to be in before they would even accept it. So that took like 3 whole days or 4 whole days. I'm talking 12-hour days to get Amazon to even acknowledge the format.
Learn the program.
Oh, to learn it, yeah.
Because we didn't even know how to use InDesign.
No. Okay, and scratch that. I went to school and I had to learn InDesign, but that was 10 years. I mean, is that 10 years ago? That's 10 years ago. Like, I don't remember that. And I didn't have to take an image and reformat it into InDesign. Like, I was just creating in InDesign when I was in college. And college is, like, the programs have changed so much within 10 years that it can do so much more now that I had no idea it could even do. Which is wild. So yeah, and then learning, like we tried to learn, there was like 3 different programs. Like I was crying, I was frustrated, I was upset, I was taking my anger out on Nate because I was so frustrated with myself for not understanding it. And then when you watch YouTube videos, they'll skip steps. And then like, sign up for my program and I'll teach you how to do it. No, I'm not signing up for your program because I know that I could figure this out. So it was like piecing multiple videos together
to come up with
the steps on how to do it. They say it's easy, and it is easy once you get it, but they don't want to make it easy for you. Like you have to like reach out and you have to research and plug things together in your mind to make it happen.
So what's the biggest problem with when you go and try to learn something online?
That everybody thinks they're an expert.
They make it look so easy.
No, it is not easy at all.
But when you learn something for the first time, that's not an easy thing.
No,
right?
It's not.
And it takes a strong will and a strong mindset. And
you have to be like comfortable with yourself too.
It takes a strong will and a strong mindset to overcome your inadequacies as a person to finish the task that you are trying to do. Because everything is not going to come to you easy. Anything worth doing in life is not easy. And
you were so patient with me too.
Yeah.
I felt so bad afterwards because he was just so encouraging and I was just not in the mood. And we were sick at the same time. Like I'm pretty sure when I was learning the programs, we were just beginning to get Corona. Like we didn't know it. And like, I was already cranky. I was already tired. We already had like a cough. Like,
well, you had the headache.
I had a headache. So I was blaming like learning. I was like, learning's giving me a headache. This is so hard. And I was like, and then 2 days later, I'm like, okay, this was not me trying to learn. Learning was not giving me a headache. It was Corona. But anyways, what else were we talking about? The programs, learning the programs. And then once I learned the programs, formatted it went through the Amazon process to get it onto the screen, but then they would kick it back. So they denied it like 5 times before I even could get it to where I could edit it right. So that was already the first problems that I was having and having to learn these new programs I never had. had to learn before. And then every time they'd kick it back, they wouldn't tell you why. Like, they wouldn't tell you why you needed to fix something. It was just like, fix page 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15. I'm like, they're all the same page. Like, I formatted everything the exact same way, so I don't understand how page 1 doesn't match with page 7, because they're all the same format.
Right.
It was wild. It was wild. The day they accepted it, I literally like was so happy. I was so relieved, in tears. But then the original copies didn't realize. So the first 30 people that bought my book, I don't have it on here, but there was like a line, and you know, nobody realized it. There's like a slight line right through her forehead, like right here. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, how many people have bought this book? But you know what? When I'm super famous, that's going to be...
Those books are going to be worth a lot of money.
I feel like those books are going to be worth... Because those were the original books. So like my mom definitely has an original book. My like biggest supporters, close friends and family have the first like 30 books that were printed like that. But then I had to go back and fix it and figure out why it was showing that line. It was just wild. It was super wild, but
yeah, we had to completely redo the entire front cover.
Yes.
Because of this line.
Because
and
of this line.
We had no idea why the line was there.
No idea.
You know, so we had to start over from scratch and recreate the cover of the book.
It's crazy.
You know, and it ended up looking a lot better, in my opinion.
It did. I agree.
Than the first version of the cover. Mm-hmm. But this is also a part of mindset and purpose, because, you know, it wasn't perfect when it first came out, but we still sent it out into the world. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people...
But we thought it was perfect. I thought it was perfect. I wanted to be perfect.
A lot of people will procrastinate on something to try to make it perfect.
Totally me.
When... Yeah, totally you.
Totally.
When it didn't necessarily need to be perfect to send it out into the world. It was gonna cause, you know, the uproar that it caused, you know, from just the original published, you know, book. You know, and then we were able to correct, you know, the mistake in the cover, mm-hmm. you know, later on, you know, and, you know, luckily for those first 30 customers that, you know, as the popularity of this book continues to grow, you know, and even more to come, you know, those books are going to be very valuable collectibles for those people, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm, for sure. And I'm just glad that I was talking to my friend Jose, and
Shout out Jose.
Hey Jose. Hey boo. Anyways, I was telling him I wrote a book, and he was like, for London, and he was like, wow, what word did he use? He was like, that's gonna be something. It's like not an artifact. Jose, if you know, please drop a line, because I forgot what you said. But it was like, that book is going to live on forever and ever and ever. And she's like, long before you were gone. He said a different word. Long after you're gone, like, this book is still going to exist. And he was like, you put your mark on the world. And I was just like, wow, that's like really deep.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's really cool. But yeah.
But the response to the book has just been absolutely overwhelming. We never thought, you know, that people would pick up the book so easily. You know, our entire investment into the book has been recouped, and you know, now we can, you know, talk about, you know, how we did this, and, you know, because it's definitely not, you know, Meredith is the author, but she also had, you know, her whole family, you know, support her in sharing the book and telling people about the book, and, you know.
I think my niece got a little was it starstruck, or what's the word? Big-headed, because she was like, I'm the star of this book. and everybody's asking me about it at school, and my teacher read it and then said, oh, London, you're on the front, and then she said she was embarrassed because she's a star. And I was like, girl, you better get used to that. You're gonna be a star. But I also said that if you're a star, you need to act like people are looking up to you. So you have to, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with being a star.
That's right.
You need to treat people with respect. You need to, you know.
Well, I think that example is an example of everything can be a teachable moment.
For sure.
In life, right?
Be humble.
You know, you're doing something for a purpose, for a reason. And, you know, some people don't know what the reason might be yet, but, you know, you can make your days and your habits, you know, head towards that purpose. And then all of a sudden you're affecting millions of people's lives, you know, and it started with that little girl, London, affecting Meredith's life. And then she was able to put that down on paper. And then now what's down on paper can affect everybody that buys it and everybody that shares it. So it's amazing how
there's a great moral to the story too.
Yeah, there's a great moral, and you know, definitely check that out and comment down below, you know, if you've read it, you know the moral, you know.
I'd love to hear your
opinion
and your what you think.
But it's amazing how your habitual things can come into a product, and that product affect so many people, you know, and then how that makes you feel not only about what you've created, but about, you know, how you can affect other people, which is just, it's really been amazing to see, you know, how London and the Googly Goo has grown and affected people all around us. And we have, you know, really good friends, and they have a son, and his eyes just light up when you're reading this book to him.
Yes, and he knows the book too.
Yeah.
And like he's like, I don't know this book. I can't read it. I'm only this 4, however old he is. I'm only 4, and then I'm reading it, and he's like word for word reading it with me, and I'm like, little boy, you can read this book. I was like, you read this book better than I read the book. Yeah. I mean, to see that was like so like reassuring that
those eyes lighting up like that made this whole process
totally worth it.
Totally worth it.
I just have like my number one biggest littlest, because he's like 4, fan.
Yeah.
And he like asked his mom to read it to him, and his dad to read it to him, and his grandma to read it to him like multiple times a day, and it just makes me feel so good about that, about
the job you've done.
Yeah, like giving myself a pat on the back for that one. Pat, pat, pat. You know, I have to stretch too. But
you know, so you don't think about that when you're going
through the process.
When you start thinking about your purpose, you don't really think about stuff like that. How you can, you know, make a little kid's eyes light up like that, and the joy you can bring someone, you know, through your work, you know, and then when you see the outcome like that, it really is life changing.
It is.
Right? And you know, that really can change your mindset as well. Like, hey, all of this pain that you're going through, you know, is worth it.
Frustration.
And frustration is worth it.
And wanting to give up.
Just if you can do that to one child, you know,
see it.
It's worth every second that you've struggled, you know, to do this.
I'm pretty sure I cried when I was listening to him.
So to all authors out there that are
potential authors
that are on the fence about putting their work out there,
do it.
I mean, you have no idea who or what or when or how you will affect someone.
True life.
You know, just like when Meredith's aunt gave her first writing book, you know, that affected her forever.
It did.
So
you're gonna make me cry.
So those events, those events have led up to
this moment,
to that moment,
and where I wanted to create this book for my niece and create this experience for my niece. That my aunt started for me when I was a kid, 5. So
there's always a higher purpose, a higher meaning for what you're doing. You may not see it in the depths of the battle of it, but
That's
when
true.
you see it, when you get to the end and you see it at the end, it's definitely life changing
for sure.
So, like I say, we wanted to talk a little bit about how to write a book and the differences and styles and processes.
And how you affect people with your work.
And
I feel like we really hit that today in this podcast because I'm about to cry. So emotional. No, but I'm just honestly I'm really proud of myself.
She only cries once a day.
Just once a day. So the next one will be fine, because it's the once a day. No, but I'm just honestly and it's okay. And it's okay to say you're proud of. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of what I went through. I'm proud of what I've created. I'm proud of the decisions I've made in doing this book, the decision to pick my artist, the decision to sit down and learn programs, write the book in the first place, or even have the thought in the first place. I'm proud of the partner that I picked to sit here and basically learn these programs with me. You're in the process of making books as well, but he didn't sit here and help me trying to better himself, and he sat here and supported me and wanted to learn to help me. And that definitely hit home too when I actually created this book, because I'm the first one to say, if it wasn't for Nate being there to support me and help me and walk me through certain things that I didn't understand, or just be there for moral support, I don't know if this book could have been created.
I'm just lucky to be a part of it. Like I say, not only from your creativity, but, Julian's creativity, and, going through the process and then seeing the outcomes. This has just been an amazing process. We're definitely blessed to be able to be a part of this process. And you don't really realize it when you're in the process, what a blessing it is to be able to do it. Right.
Right.
To have the ability, to come up with things, and, and this is the first of many. We're going to be bringing out a lot of stuff. Our battery's about to die. So what you want to talk about podcast, follow, subscribe, and we're out.
Bye guys.
Bye,
Thanks.
Guys.